If you have little money saved, this video could be a game changer for your financial life. The truth is, achieving financial freedom doesn't just depend on earning a good salary. It depends on understanding how money really works. Most people spend their entire lives struggling to pay bills, waiting for the next paycheck, and never managing to build any real wealth. The problem is, we've been conditioned to believe that a good job and a steady income are enough to guarantee stability, but that rarely turns out to be true. The most financially successful individuals don't rely solely on their salary. They build, acquire, or develop something that generates income independently of their time or direct effort. This could be a business, an investment, an inheritance, or even a highly valuable skill in the marketplace. What they all have in common is ownership of something. Meanwhile, those who own nothing of value end up trapped by the system, stuck in an endless cycle of expenses, debt, and financial anxiety. But here's the main point. You don't need to earn a lot to start changing your financial situation. The real secret lies in how you manage what you already have. There's a practical and rarely talked about structure that allows you to organize your finances efficiently, even with a modest income, the 20-60-10-10 rule. This strategic breakdown is used by people who think like the wealthy and, even starting from scratch, manage to build a solid financial life. Understanding this could be the first step to stop just getting by on your paycheck and start building real wealth. This simple yet powerful strategy helps you manage your money wisely, even if your income is still modest. The logic is to divide your net income into 4 well-defined parts. 20% for financial growth, meaning investments that build your assets, 60% for essential expenses like housing, food, and transportation, 10% for stability, creating an emergency fund for unexpected events, and the final 10% for freedom, allowing for mindful spending, leisure, or meaningful experiences. This breakdown creates balance between living well today and building a solid future. No miracle formulas needed. By following this structure, you begin to take control of your finances with clarity and purpose. It may seem simple at first glance, but learning how to apply each part of this rule to your daily life could be the turning point between barely scraping by and actually building real financial freedom. In this video, you'll discover how to use this structure even with a low income, which mistakes to avoid, and why wealthy people already use it, even if you haven't noticed. Stay with me until the end and transform the way you manage your money. This could change your future. Welcome to the Wisdom in Finance channel, where we talk about money with intelligence, growth strategies, and real ways to build wealth. If this content resonates with you, subscribe to the channel and leave a like to support this mission. Financial growth. Invest in your future. There's a fine line between living to work and making money work for you. What sets financially successful people apart is the habit of setting aside part of what they earn to build something lasting. Around 20% of your income should be allocated to your financial growth, and that doesn't mean saving for emergencies or letting it sit in a savings account. It means putting it into assets that grow over time. This portion is what will allow you, over the years, to build a solid foundation that generates income, even while you sleep or rest. The biggest mistake of those living on autopilot is spending everything they earn, paying bills, and using what's left on instant pleasures without thinking about tomorrow. This behavior has been shaped almost invisibly. You're encouraged to spend, to go into debt, and to seek immediate comfort, creating a false sense of freedom. In reality, this leads to permanent dependency on your paycheck and financial stagnation. The path to independence begins when you flip the script and choose to invest in something that grows, multiplies, and builds freedom over time. Even if it seems impossible to set aside part of your income today, the most important thing is to start. Small amounts, wisely directed and invested with strategy, can turn into significant sums thanks to the power of time and compound interest. The earlier you take this step, the greater the long-term impact will be. The money you invest now could eventually generate more than your daily effort, The focus needs to shift from just paying bills to building assets, because those are what will secure your true financial freedom. Choosing the right assets for your money. When you start investing, it's essential to understand that not every asset is suitable for every stage of your financial journey. Picture a staircase where each step represents a different level of risk and return. And in the early stages, the priority should be safety. And that's where fixed income investments come in as an excellent entry point. They offer predictability and stability, ideal for those developing discipline and knowledge in the world of investing. As you gain confidence, you can explore options with greater potential for growth, such as index funds, also known as ETFs. These funds combine various stocks into a single investment, allowing you to gain exposure to the market with less risk than investing in individual companies. However, it's crucial to assess performance and fees, as not all of them deliver returns that justify the risk. Choosing the right assets is what turns effort into real results. High-income skills. High-income skills. The best investment is in yourself. Among all the possible paths to building wealth, there's one that remains accessible to anyone willing to put in the effort: improving your own skills. Unlike any other asset, the knowledge you gain is entirely yours, and no one can take it away from you. When you develop skills that are valued in the market, you immediately increase your earning potential. More than that, you open doors to opportunities that once seemed out of reach. The return on this kind of investment is often not only faster, but also more lasting than that of many financial assets. There is a huge demand for skilled professionals in areas where the supply of labor is still low. This applies to the digital world, such as programming, marketing, design, and video editing, as well as hands-on trades like electrical installation, building maintenance, or solar energy. You don't need a college degree to charge premium rates. Today's market values results, competence, and speed, and those who master useful skills can build a strong career, even starting from scratch. Technical courses, mentorships, online or in-person training, these are investments that can transform your income in just a few weeks or months. And unlike a car that depreciates or a debt that holds you back, learning something new strengthens you. Developing high-income skills is like planting a tree. At first it takes effort, but over time it begins to bear fruit consistently. If you're seeking stability and growth, start looking inward and asking yourself, what can I learn today that will change my tomorrow? Diversify your income. When it comes to growing your money wisely, one of the most powerful strategies is diversification. Putting all your resources into a single type of investment can be just as risky as not investing at all. That's why, as your financial portfolio grows, it's important to go beyond basic assets and explore other possibilities. A good starting point is understanding real estate investment trusts, REITs, which work like an investor pool for commercial properties. They pay out monthly profits from rental income and, when well chosen, can offer consistent returns with lower volatility. However, careful evaluation is essential, as not all REITs outperform fixed income investments. Another key step toward building a solid portfolio is investing in stocks. When you buy stocks, you become a part owner of companies and share in their profits and business growth. The secret, however, isn't in betting on just one company, but in building a diversified portfolio with at least 20 to 30 companies that have shown solid results over the years. The stock market can fluctuate a lot, so patience and consistency are essential. It's not about timing the market, it's about making regular contributions and trusting that long-term growth will come. Beyond traditional options, digital businesses have also been gaining traction as a source of extra, or even primary, income. With a computer and internet connection, you can build your own venture in areas like digital products, online stores, or specialized services. Despite the high profit potential, this kind of initiative requires preparation, market knowledge, and above all, a minimally structured financial foundation. Starting an online business can bring freedom, but it also comes with risks, especially for those who don't yet have an emergency cushion. Finally, there are the so-called alternative investments, like cryptocurrencies and precious metals. Bitcoin, for example, has gained attention for its growth potential and as a decentralized store of value. Gold, on the other hand, is a classic hedge against economic crises. Both can be part of a stronger investment strategy, but require deep understanding before jumping in. The rule is simple but valuable. Never put money into something you don't understand. Diversifying your income isn't just about earning more. It's about protecting what you've already built and ensuring your financial growth is sustainable, even in uncertain market conditions. Learn how to invest practically and smartly. Once you understand which assets make sense for your reality, it's time to put the plan into action with consistency and strategy. One of the biggest mistakes is post-planning paralysis. The person even chooses where to invest, opens an account with a brokerage, and studies the market, but never builds the habit of actually investing. The key is consistency. Smart investing starts with automating the process. As soon as your paycheck hits your account, a portion of it should already be committed to your financial goals, before paying bills, before spending on entertainment. This simple practice of paying yourself first turns investing into a priority, not an option. Once the money is set aside and transferred, the next step is to actually invest it. Don't let it sit idle. Study the available products, assess the risks, and spread it across options that align with your profile. If you feel more comfortable with fixed income, that's fine. Start there. If you prefer a mixed portfolio with stocks, funds, or alternatives, build it gradually. The important thing is to get your capital working. Choosing a strategy and sticking to it with discipline brings better results than trying to guess the next asset that's going to take off. And here comes a decisive factor: increasing your investment capacity. The more you invest, the faster you build freedom. To do that, ideally, you should develop a second source of income. Learning a new skill, offering services, or creating a digital solution are all accessible paths today. Whatever you earn from this new source, invest it directly. Turn that extra income into future freedom. Investing isn't an event, it's a lifestyle. And those who embrace it move to a new level over time. Managing your main expenses. It's common to think that with a good salary, financial problems simply disappear. However, it's not rare to see people with high incomes trapped in debt and monthly worries. This happens because the focus is often on appearing successful rather than truly building it. True financial freedom begins when we understand that living well doesn't mean spending more, but spending consciously. When 60% of your income is well directed toward what really matters, it's possible not only to live with dignity, but also to steadily advance toward a more secure future. The key is to distinguish the essential from the superfluous. Essential spending is what keeps your life running, not what feeds vanity or momentary impulses. Items like housing, food, basic bills, transportation, insurance, and functional clothing fall into this category. On the other hand, unused services, forgotten subscriptions, frequent dining out, or impulse clothing purchases are clear examples of waste disguised as necessity. By limiting essential financial commitments to 60% of your income, you force yourself to reflect on your priorities and shift your perspective from "how can I spend more?" to "how can I earn better?" Within that 60% range, there are two critical areas that usually consume the most money: housing and transportation. Housing is almost always the heaviest expense. However, this doesn't mean it should increase with your income. On the contrary, keeping housing costs under control is a strategic decision. Renegotiating rent, sharing expenses with someone, or even temporarily living with family can free up a significant amount of your budget. Regarding transportation, choosing new financed cars with high installments and expensive insurance is a common trap. Semi-new, more economical cars, or, when possible, avoiding owning a vehicle are alternatives that help preserve capital. Financial discipline shouldn't rely solely on willpower. It is strengthened when there are simple systems that make good choices automatic. Creating a decision-making framework can transform your consumption habits. Questions like, am I buying on impulse or out of necessity? Am I valuing the brand or the real benefit this item will bring to my life? And will this purchase bring a concrete improvement to my daily life? Are practical and effective filters. These questions don't inhibit the pleasure of buying, but eliminate purposeless decisions, saving resources that can be better applied. Living with financial awareness is not about being stingy, but intentional. Every cent that passes through your hands carries a choice. Reinforce habits that impoverish or nurture behaviors that enrich. The goal is not to cut out all pleasures, but to value what truly matters. And the more you understand your own consumption patterns, the easier it becomes to adjust your lifestyle so that it serves your goals, not the other way around. True wealth is quiet, grounded in smart decisions, and begins when you start mastering your expenses instead of being mastered by them. Protect your progress with an emergency fund. You can have the best investments, a solid plan, and financial discipline, but a single unexpected event can put everything at risk. A medical emergency, job loss, or an unforeseen car expense, for example, are situations that demand an immediate response, and that's where your emergency fund acts as a shield. Setting aside a portion of your income isn't a sign of pessimism, but of wisdom. With a well-structured financial cushion, you won't need to dismantle your investment portfolio or go into debt to handle sudden challenges. The first step is knowing the ideal amount for this protection. To figure that out, calculate your fixed monthly expenses, rent, transportation, food, electricity, water, and so on, and multiply that total by 5. That's the amount you need to build a strong stability fund. The idea is that even if your income source disappears temporarily, you'll still be able to keep your life running long enough to recover. Dedicating 10% of your monthly income to this goal may feel slow at first, but every dollar saved adds an extra layer of security. Just as important as building your emergency fund is deciding where to keep it. The money should be accessible within 24 hours without risk of loss or restrictions. Volatile or long-term investments don't belong here. The ideal vehicle combines liquidity, safety, and at least a minimum return, like a daily liquidity CDB bank deposit certificate tied to the CDI interbank deposit certificate. That way, your money continues to grow, even if slowly, but can be used at any time without penalties. This accessibility is what turns your emergency fund into a true safety net. Building this fund quickly takes strategy. One practical method is the automatic sweep, setting up 10% of your paycheck to be transferred straight to the fund the moment it lands. Another effective approach is making a promise to yourself. If you ever need to use the money, your top priority with the next paycheck is to replenish it. There's also the option of using Roundup apps, which automatically save the spare change from your purchases, a subtle yet effective way to keep adding to the fund. Once your emergency fund is fully built, you'll be in a powerful position, stable enough to withstand the unexpected and free to keep growing. That solid base allows you to redirect the 10% you were saving into other goals, like investing more or making your dreams come true. The secret here isn't just in accumulating, it's in protecting. After all, financial progress isn't only about climbing higher, it's also about making sure you don't fall when life shakes the ladder. Rewards, the joy of enjoying the journey. Building a solid financial future doesn't mean giving up life's pleasures. On the contrary, setting aside a portion of your income to enjoy the present is a smart way to maintain balance. Allocating 10% exclusively for leisure or personal rewards prevents the feeling of constant sacrifice. When there's planned space for fun, the process of managing your finances becomes lighter and more enjoyable. This practice helps keep motivation over time because the effort is rewarded in a healthy, intentional way. It's not about indulgent luxury, but about giving yourself experiences that recharge your energy and bring meaning to your daily routine. Creating a joy jar with automatic monthly contributions is a practical way to put this idea into action. This money should have a clear purpose. Short trips, special dinners, personal interest courses, or even small gifts for yourself. Important, don't use other funds to top up this jar, and don't dip into it to cover unexpected expenses. By maintaining this habit, you turn pleasure into a well-deserved and conscious reward, not an impulsive escape. In the end, this practice makes your financial journey more sustainable because it shows that you can grow without missing out on the joy along the way. After all, balance is also a sign of prosperity. Are you going to keep waiting for life to change on its own, or will you start taking action now? Everything you need to transform your financial reality is already within your reach. Just apply what you've learned here with consistency and courage. Small daily decisions build great fortunes in the long run. Thank you for staying until now. This already shows that you are ahead of most people seeking knowledge and action. Remember, those who plant today harvest freedom tomorrow. See you in the next video. Stay strong and take good care of your money.